The most typical dishes they dared to eat were spaghetti bolognese, pizza, and lasagna. As they progressed on their tour, they felt more relaxed and carefree, overlooking the fact that some members of their rival band were lurking in the distance, continuing their journey towards their final destination, Palermo. In Palermo, they stopped to visit its cathedral and its characteristic heads of Moors. The story behind these heads told that a woman fell in love with a Moor, had a brief love affair, and then killed him when she found out he was married, using his head as a planter for basil. Zello liked the story and took one as a souvenir. Since they couldn't leave their base alone for too long, they decided to return to resume their work. Upon returning, they had been away for a week, and since they saw nothing out of the ordinary, they felt confident and let their guard down. This was a fatal mistake in that world, as Monsta X had a plan that none of the six could imagine. They planned to enter their base, kidnap them, and torture them until they abandoned their base and never returned, so they could take their place and steal their success and fame. To carry out their plan, they acquired a gas that would make them sleep, facilitating their capture, and they would release it through the ducts located throughout the ship. To avoid being affected, they bought gas masks, and to prevent escape, they would bind them with chains. In 2 days, they would initiate their plan, as they needed to prepare to avoid mistakes. It was Wednesday, so Friday would be the day they would take action. On the other hand, with the BAP boys, Youngjae took a stroll around the city on Thursday without drawing attention. What he didn't expect was that a couple of men would corner him in an alley and force him into a car. He pleaded to be let go, but his captors told him to calm down and listen to them. Once he relented, they explained that they were from the police, offering him a deal. They offered him freedom and a return to normalcy in exchange for betraying his own and helping capture the other band. He didn't think twice and said he preferred jail, but they told him the other band wanted to kidnap them, which opened his eyes to the reality he was in. He decided to accept, feeling sorry for the fate that awaited the 5 boys who had been almost like brothers to him. Although being behind bars would at least mean his life would no longer be in danger. When he returned to his base, they noticed something strange about him. Youngjae couldn't help but ask, "Are you okay? Has something happened?" To which he replied with a "No, everything is fine," which was hardly believable, but they didn't give it much importance and thought it was better to let him rest, believing it would pass. Youngjae had to fulfill a small favor that the police asked him, to place a bug among the leader's belongings. He doubted the betrayal repeatedly, but he had his chance on Friday morning when he said he would look for the leader in his room and entered without him being there. It was the perfect moment to place the bug. Once done, as he was about to leave, Youngjae entered and asked what he was doing there. Caught by surprise, he didn't know what to say, apologizing for entering while scratching his head and maintaining a nervous laugh. Night fell, and the members of Monsta X set their plan in motion, filling the base with enough gas to put them to sleep for hours so they wouldn't wake up during the transfer. Once back with the boys in their power, the first thing they did was tie them up so they couldn't escape. Youngjae was left standing with one hand tied to a short chain that prevented him from moving. Himchan was lying on a bunk with railings, tied with handcuffs, one to the railing and the other to his hand. Daehoon was standing but with chains binding both hands to each side. Youngjae was on his knees with his hands tied just like Daehoon. Jong-up was sitting in a chair with chains over his body preventing any movement, and finally, Zello was standing with chains around his neck that reached the end, pinning him against the wall to which he was tied.